Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, slightly outside the normal schedule, I'm going to be marking the 85,000 subscriber mark. So as usual, thank you for everyone who continues to support, and thank you for the at least 5,000 people who have joined since the last time I did one of these. Going up in 5,000 marks, there's only 3 more to go for the big one. I'm not sure when that will be either, because it's all very much variable. You know, when the news is extra spicy and you get extra views, you get more subscribers, and when it's not so much, not so much. Maybe summer, maybe August, who knows, who knows. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'll talk a little bit about where the sort of channels come from, and how I intend it to go for the rest of the year, as well as a little update on the studio, because it's now much more taking shape. There's only one major thing left to do. But first of all, I think what I will do is just talk about where it came from, because I recall, I mean, the channel is now slightly over 3 years old. Not a great deal was done in 2018. I started it in February, and it's very random. Very, very random in terms of what I was posting up. It's a classic case. I had a gaming channel, and I still technically do. I'm still trying to work my way around that. But that's what I'd been doing for a few years, and then, you know, work and everything meant that I wouldn't be able to do as much on that. And I thought, well, you know, I'm interested in politics, do a vlogging, political channel, so to speak. Didn't really have the focus for it. And then, you know, as 2018 progressed, particularly towards the end, I think it was April when I did my first Brexit video. Can't even remember what that was about. But as the year progressed, and you know, Brexit became more insane. I wouldn't say more newsworthy. It was very newsworthy from 2016, but more insane. I felt more compelled to talk about it. And then right at the start of 2019, I decided that I would attempt to do about a video a day, or an average of a video a day. And then it very quickly took off after that, because politics is so crazy, and has been so crazy for the last few years, that, you know, someone who's interested in politics and political news could do several videos a day. And so over 2019, built the channel up. 2020, when I went full time, sort of. That was certainly the intention. It largely happened. But then another college was needing someone to do some cover work. Heard that I was leaving that college, so asked if I would do some cover work. So I did, and that was quite nice in many ways. The pattern of life, I'm not going to lie, as a YouTuber is quite nice. Yes, I'm very constantly aware, and I think even when I did my first subscriber video, which may have been 1,000 or 5,000, something like that, you know, I did sort of note that I knew the growth of the channel was very much fueled by the craziness of Brexit. It's largely a Brexit. It's really a political channel, particularly for British politics, and that's where I would, you know, intend it to continue for the future. But ultimately, let's face facts, it's driven by Brexit, the craziest of political scenarios. And I said at the time, you know, there's going to come a point where Brexit is not something you can talk about every day. At which point, I don't know, you know, how well the channel will do. But at the same time, although there is the odd day now where I don't, like a couple of days ago, I think I had 2 topics that weren't really Brexit related, but that's quite rare. You know, I actually could maintain my schedule and only talk about Brexit. Here we are, 2 and a bit years after I decided to do content every day. And I could still, every day, to do 2 videos about Brexit. You know, there are other things as well that I go into and wants to go into, but you know, and that's the situation. But you know, at some point it won't be a daily topic. At some point it won't be a daily topic. And I don't know when that is now, though, because you look at the situation and you're thinking, even now, everything has now happened. We've left the EU. We've left the customs union single market. So everything that we knew the Conservatives were trying to push us into, they have now achieved. So are we now in the period where it's going to start to calm down and we adjust and all the rest of it? No, the Conservatives are picking new battles. This is never going to end. It's certainly not going to end for years to come. So, you know, there it is. And here we are now. you know, 2 and a bit years after I decided to grow the channel along those lines. 85,000 subscribers. It's doing very well. And as I said, you know, the life of a YouTuber, even for one like me who I just sort of know the conditions that you know, allow for the channel as it is right now are not going to exist for the rest of my working life. At the same time, who knows? Who knows what will happen? In terms of the rest of the year now, people who've been following me, for example, last year would know. So last year, I was effectively doing 19 videos a week. It was 3 on weekdays and 2 on each of the weekend days. And that went down to 14 this year. And that was simply because I've taken on extra teaching cover. And I'd hoped to have that taken off me. They recruited for someone to do that, but they could only take a couple of classes off me. So I'm still doing quite a bit on that. And now that we're going back in, so ironically, the last couple of months, it hasn't been too bad because there hasn't been the travel. The travel is not insignificant. In fact, at the moment, it's quite a lot of travel because there's very heavy roadworks in the way that I cannot avoid. So, you know, time-wise, 14 a week is very manageable, and I'm not as loaded as I was, but it's still not enough to go back to 19. If indeed I ever do again, because 14 is also quite good. And it gives me more time for other things. And there may be other things coming in as well, getting involved with other projects. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes over this year. This year could well be a quite interesting year for me. Like last year was very much about focusing on full-time. This was my main source of income, focusing very much on just, you know, what I was doing at the start of last year was what I was doing at the end of last year. It was basically trying to improve the way I do things. 2021 is much more a year of flux in doing different things. I mean, the studio, although that was ordered last year, that's come in now. So that's helped me go back to the green screen and in a much better way as well, much more effective. I'm quite happy with this now. I'm sure there'll be lighting and sound engineers who've still got lots of handy tips. And as I say, there is still one big, well, I haven't said it yet, there is still one big change to come, but I'll talk about that when I go through the studio as it is now. But in terms of the channel, yeah, so yes, interesting times, 2021. And then in 2022, it might well be that again, it's like 2020 where I focus on doing that. And you know, it could well be that that's the way to do things. You have 1 year where you change things and you do things differently. And then you have another year where you maintain a level of consistency and just try and perfect it, improve it at the very least, be consistent. And then another year when you go, right, well, let's see what else we can do that's different. And maybe that's a good way to do it as well. But now what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to switch to a different camera, is what the studio is looking like now. So a little update then. So I have gone through how the studio's come along when it was first installed. It was a while ago now. It's one of these is supposed to be installed within a day. It took about 5 weeks, and mostly that was because of that door. This is the door I ordered. Very nice. It opens outwards as I require it to now. But when they installed it, they'd forgotten to update my specs onto the plan. So what I actually got was a door that opened inwards right in the middle, which was a bit of a problem. And then it took, that is a curious pug, but never mind him. It took a little while to fix it because they had to order the door then when they realized they hadn't actually done that. And then what happened was when the person came in to fit it in, these panels are just supposed to, you know, slide out. You take off the end caps and it slides out. This did not occur because they used a new sealant, which turned out to be super glue. So it was a lot of messing, but it's done now. Other additions will be, I sort of broke down. I did say I wasn't going to put these up until I had the curtains in. I cracked eventually because I wasn't going to be getting the curtains anytime soon as that door was a problem. And in fact, I won't be getting the curtains at all, technically, because you can't screw into these panels. However, my partner, Sarah, has sourced some blinds that fit into the seals in the windows. We're just waiting for those. But wouldn't you know it, they were supposed to arrive this week and they have been delayed because they can't get the parts. Now, I'm going to guess, a little topical, I haven't asked them, but I'm going to guess that's Brexit related. But in terms of everything else sort of set up, it's now set up pretty well. I can take the equipment down and use the studio for my other activities as well quite easily. It's set up, everything's working all right. I think the sound's all right as well. It should be even better with the blinds. The blinds I've got are specifically suitable for absorbing sound as well. So that means I'll have one whole side that's absorbing sound. I mean, it's a little bit patchy on the ceiling, and I'm now, in the last few videos, I've actually been stood at the other end because, you know, before, when I was first using the studio, I had the camera set up at that end and the green screen set up at this end. This is not now occurring because I now have the door there, and that's also where the screen would be. And even though it opens outwards and I could put the screen there, it's okay. And maybe at times I will. I don't need to, and I'd originally planned to have it this way around. So it's all now taking shape beautifully. So there we go, that's the situation we're in at the moment. Hope you found the video interesting. Thanks again for your support, and when we get to 90,000 we'll have another one, and maybe there'll be other updates about the weird and wonderful things I'm getting up to. But until then, thank you for your continued support, and until next time, I'll see you later.